Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Chris here. Um, over the past week, uh, obviously the biggest news story in the world, the biggest news story has been the Will Smith Chris Rock situation. Um, I would be remiss if I didn't kind of update it on my end for the people that watch my channel. So it looks like Will Smith has resigned from the Academy, his Academy membership after it as an active result of what happened. Looks like that just happened yesterday. We got more detail that they did ask him to leave the awards venue. He refused. Chris Rock was said asked multiple times he wanted to press charges. He refused. Um, so there's those things. Looks like they were gonna the possibility of suspending him for a period of time from coming back or reinstating his membership is still on the table. Um, there's still the possibility of him being expelled from the academy and him not being able to come back. It looks like the resignation may be temporary. It's just while he's kind of doing his own thing and trying to get himself straight or get himself right. It is what it is. The takes on the whole situation that I've seen over the past week have ranged from some good ones, some honest ones, some with legitimate concerns about the safety of comedians and stuff like that. Others have been some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And a lot of those dumbass takes are the ones where it's like, oh, my man better defend me like that. And it's like, you really don't. If you want your man to possibly get himself arrested defending you, you're in the wrong relationship. And so is that man. And the reason I say that is that's toxic as fuck. Um, Even my wife, for like a brief minute, she was like, you know, my man wouldn't. My man, like you better defend me like that. And I said to her straight up, like, I'm not going to jail defending you over jokes. I'm sorry. She got mad for a second. Then I said, here's why. Like, I'm the type of person, I'm going to use my mind. If somebody comes at you with a joke, over a joke, and they come at you, I'm going to respond by whooping their ass verbally. I'm not going to physically get into an altercation. And she's like, well, back in the day, you would have. I'm like, yeah, when I was 20 and stupid and didn't realize shit. Now I'm a 43-year-old man. I know better. So now I'm not going to respond that way. Because I'm a grown ass man. I'm a fucking full fledged adult. I've got like gray hairs and shit like that. I'm not going to respond like a fucking idiot anymore. That comes with being a mature adult. So, and she understood at that point. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to fucking do that. But there's a part of this that I haven't heard too many people talk about. And it's a take that, or it's a what if scenario that I need people to really stop and think about, especially in the black community where a lot of the argument has been, well, pro Will Smith. And it has been. It's like Will Smith was in the right because he made a joke about that man's wife and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. She has a medical condition. And my response to that is, again, it's not like it's a medical condition where her hair's falling out. It can be traumatic. It can be difficult for black women or women in general to lose their hair. And I get that as someone who is losing my hair as a middle-aged man or close to middle-aged man. I'm losing my hair. Started losing my hair in my 30s. It sucks. But, I started going gray in my 20s. That also sucked. Like hardcore gray. I had a couple gray hairs when I was 18, but it started going hardcore gray in my 20s. So, it's still the same shit. Like, you don't hear, like, guys don't bitch about it, cry about it. They just accept it. And they move on. It's like, all right, this is what I got to deal with. I'm going to go gracefully into that good night. Like, she could have worn a wig. Like, honestly, Jada could have wore a fucking wig. She wore a wig in the Matrix Resurrections. She wore a wig in the fucking movie she just was in. I didn't know she would, like, most people didn't know she was suffering from this. And that's the other factor. Apparently, Chris Rock didn't know that she had alopecia. He had no idea she had this condition. He didn't know. So that right there, like that whole argument, like, oh, he knew, he didn't know. Like, legitimately didn't know she had it. So the question now that I'm going to propose to everybody is, what if Chris Rock didn't just take it and stay professional? What if Chris Rock, as Will Smith was walking away, jumped on that man and a full-fledged brawl started at the Oscars? Yeah, I know. It's crazy because Chris Rock's not that type of person. But what if he did that? What if he would? What if that little bit of what the no, this motherfucker did not just hit me on national television, kicked in, that switch turned on, and he jumped off stage, went at Will Smith, and they started a brawl in the middle of the Oscars. Because we've seen all the takes from the usual people who want to say, see, we told you we can't take them anywhere and all this other shit, validating all their bullshit because that she gave them that outlet to say, see, look at them. Look at them. We told you that's what they're like. That's what they're like. We told you. Now, what if a fight broke up because of what Will Smith did? What would they say about us then? You already know the answer to that. I already know the answer to that. But I want people to think about it for a second. It's a very important question to ask. It doesn't matter whether you're defending your spouse from like something that was said about them or something that you don't think was right, defending like your family. There's a way to do that without violence. From words, there's no excuse for him getting up and hitting that man. I don't give a fuck what he said. And I'll go to my grave saying that Will Smith was wrong as fuck for getting up and slapping Chris Rock. Period. He was fucking wrong. It doesn't matter what he said. I don't care if he said fuck your bald ass. What? Like, I don't care if he'd have said keep my wife after Will Smith said keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. If Chris Rock had said keep your wife's mouth off other motherfuckers, like he should have said, like, because that's what I would have said if he had slapped me and be like, keep my wife's name out your mouth. Yo, keep your wife's mouth off other motherfuckers' dicks, bro. That's what I'd have said in response. At that point, I'd have got worse. Like, now get up and say something, because now I'm ready for your ass. Bet you won't get another sneak slap on me this time. And it would have been like, nah. But think about what would have happened had Chris Rock not kept his composure and not stayed professional and went hood and jumped on Will Smith's back as he was walking away and they started brawling. Because that would have made a bad situation 15 times worse than it already was, and it would have made the Oscars a fucking disaster. And it would have given all the people who want the fuel to come after the black community all the ammunition they would have needed to justify their bullshit. Will Smith had already kind of done it with what he did, but that would have been the moment. They'd have never nominated another black actor for another fucking award ever the fuck again. Okay? They wouldn't even have Denzel in the fucking audience anymore. And he's one of the classiest motherfuckers in Hollywood. They'd have barred his ass. Like, nah, Denzel, ain't none of y'all motherfuckers getting in again. Because we can't trust y'all to act right. Like, they'd have banned everybody. Like, for real. Like, that's how I would have responded. Like, you don't think that would have happened? Um, like, that shit's crazy. I'm still blown away that he was allowed to stay in the venue after that happened. Like, for real. Like, Chris Rock should be getting applauded for not pressing charges and not turning a bad situation worse on every fucking level that it could have been. We could have seen Will Smith get dragged out of the award show on camera by law enforcement, him possibly fighting with the police, Jada get fighting with the police and getting dragged up. We could have seen a lot of worse shit had Chris Rock not stayed cool and not been calm about it. And even now, he's still being cool. He's not really even going into it. People are going to his shows wanting him to kind of talk about it, and he's not going there. He could bury the fuck out of Will Smith. He could go in on that motherfucker, and he's just not. That speaks for the type of person Chris Rock is. Okay? It speaks for the type of person Chris Rock is, that he's not taking the shots at Will Smith that he could easily take. Because I think I would go in if I were Chris Rock. Like, I was furious when I heard that they told him to leave and he didn't. Will Smith refused. Like, nah, dude, you, like, having worked as security and like having worked as security, if I tell you to leave and you don't, you're getting dragged outside. Like, 4 or 5 of us are coming over and dragging you out. We're not asking you if you want to leave or if you wish to stay. If we're coming to you and telling you to get the fuck out, you got to get the fuck out. Period. Your night's over. And if you don't leave, we're going to remove you. So your best option is to get the fuck out when we come ask you to leave. You don't get to refuse to leave. But yeah, that's the whole thing that I want people to think about. The what if what if Chris Rock didn't handle it the way he did? What if he went the other way with it? Because it would have been a lot worse. But like I said, looks like the fallout's coming down and it's starting about to be over. I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm not seeing too many people with that take, and I wanted to see what people think about it. So, again, my kudos to Chris Rock for being as professional and handling shit the way he did on every level, because he didn't have to be nice about it. He didn't even have to be cool about it, but he was. Much respect to him. Will Smith, like I said, this was a boil over of other shit that's going on in his life. Clearly, this was like the tipping point. That joke was the tipping point for a bunch of other stuff he's been dealing with. I hope he gets the help he needs. And I hope I hope he's okay, because like, I like Will Smith, I like Chris Rock, and I don't think I've been clear about that. I'm a Will Smith fan. Okay, I like Will Smith. I think he's one of the best actors in Hollywood. I still think he's a good guy. He had a bad moment. Like, he's been a good guy for most of his life, and from all accounts from people who know him or who've worked with him, he's nothing but nice. Like, I've heard nothing but nice things about working with him, but he's nothing but a nice person. I think the only person that he had any beef with was Jana Huber from Fresh Prince, and they squashed that recently, and it was beautiful to see them finally do that, where they sat down and they talked and they hashed it all out after years of like little bits of animosity, but they talked it out and they're at peace. Showed maturity on his part that he's grown up, that showed maturity on her part that she's not carrying it, and they hugged it out, and it was great to see that. It was great to see everybody together on that Fresh Prince reunion. And it was great to see him that moment with those two particularly, because of how that all went down. So it's not that he's a bad person, because he's not. Chris Rock, clearly not a bad person either. He's a comedian. He was there to make jokes. He was hired by the Academy to do the job he was doing. and shit just went bad, and it shouldn't have. Again, professionalism. He stayed professional, and that needs to be commended. He stayed professional, and he kept him keeping Will Smith from going to jail that night. That I respect it. So that's all I got to really say here about this, about that part. But like I said, think about what I said about the whole thing with the what if Chris Rock had done things differently, because it's very important to think about that and all the other craziness that happened, because that's not being talked about enough. And also, final note: women, don't tell your man to fight like into fights for you. It's not no guys. Don't get into fights for your women. Like defend them in other ways, be the good man in their life, stuff like that. If you're at a certain age, don't be getting into fist fights over your chick, man. If you find yourself fighting dudes over that girl, she may not be worth fighting for, literally. And you may want to let that shit go. Like if you're literally fighting motherfuckers for your girl because you got to defend her every 5 fucking minutes, then it may not be a relationship it's worth being in, and you may want to exit out of that bitch, because that's not healthy. That's the realest thing I can say. It's not healthy to be fighting dudes every 5 minutes over girls that you're with. If you're or with a girl, you got to fight dudes every 5 minutes because you know she's who she is, or shit's going on in the relationship or whatever. Like it's not worth it at that point. So that's my actual final note. My brothers out there of every color, if you find yourself fighting for a chick every 5 minutes, literally, it may not be that you're the problem. It may be her. And you may want to rethink that relationship and whether or not you need to be in it. Because if you're physically fighting for her, she may not be worth getting your knuckles dirty, man. Because I'm starting to think that about Jada. Like, I thought that after the Red Table Talk thing, for real. I was like, yo, why is he staying in this? Like, nah. I wouldn't do that. Especially if you put my shit on television like she did him. Like, hell to the no, I would have been the fuck out. So, but that's me. Like, I'm very at the point where I'm like, I'm not going to there's certain things I'm not going to do or not going to deal with. You're not going to put my personal business out there for the public to like hear about. Like if we break up or we're having trouble in our relationship, it's going to handle between us in private, and that's it. If somebody calls me up something about my relationship and I didn't tell you about it, I immediately know that she ran her mouth and there's a problem. And it's like, why are you telling people our business? That's something for us to handle. That's not for everybody else. And I start questioning the relationship right there because that's not how I roll. So you wouldn't see me on Red Table Talk with her talking about entanglements and all this other shit that Will Smith did. You wouldn't see me sitting there crying like that. Like, and she was stone faced that he was crying too. That was the crazy part. Like, he's sitting there bawling his eyes out, and she's just sitting there stone faced talking about it, and brought up the Tupac stuff alone. Like, and I'm like, you love him? Why the fuck are you with me then? Because he did, and I was your second choice? Fuck that. Marry his tombstone. I don't know what to tell you. Fuck that, dude. You know? But I've been on the fuck Tupac train forever. Like, I'm not a Tupac fan. Being from Baltimore, he talked a lot of shit about my city. I rep my city everywhere I go. Like, don't talk shit about my city, bro. Like, that's not cool. Take your ass back out to New York with that shit. So he was talking shit about Baltimore because he lived here for a little bit, because he went to the school for yards here, so he met Jada and all that stuff. But he left here talking a lot of shit about Baltimore. It's like, take your ass back to New York, bitch. Like, don't do that. I don't talk shit about New York. The only thing I talk about New York shit about with New York is the fucking Yankees, because fuck them. And because I'm an Orioles fan. But that's it. I don't talk. That's the only thing I talk shit about New York about is the Yankees and Yankees fans. Because y'all some coat riding motherfuckers. Like, y'all wasn't talking all that shit when y'all were getting whooped in the 80s, and y'all start winning in the 90s. You think you run shit. You don't. I've had to school many a Yankees fan at Camden Yards, and I gleefully did that shit. Anyway, I've talked way too much on this one. I just wanted to do that what if scenario. Got a little further into a little bit more the Tupac, the Will, and Jada. My thoughts on some other stuff with those two. But for real, in closing, think about what that would have done. What that would have done if Chris Rock had responded differently to the situation. And dudes out there, if your girl has you fighting for her all the fucking time, literally fighting for her, maybe you need to get the fuck out of that relationship because it's not worth it. Remember that. And on that note, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Peace.